Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, did the air layer take? Welcome everyone to the bench just outside the garage, working on another tree on a glorious sunshiny day, and it's the hibiscus. And what are we going to do? We need to find out if the air layer worked. Version 2, the first one didn't take. We've had a lot of time outside, a lot of warmth, a lot of moisture, everything. The tree has been great. We've had one bud and flower. We saved that for some tea. And everything's alive and going. We just have to see if this is going. Up close and personal, it is time to do some revealing. Now, I have a sneaky suspicion this didn't take. And if it didn't, we're going to cut it off, cut our losses, maybe stick this as a cutting or cut a couple branches off for cuttings. But I'll have my base with my one branch down here to make my bonsai. Yeah, as suspected. Just a lot of callus growth. Look at all that zigzaggy callus right in there. It's like it wanted to and just never could do it. So we're going to go ahead and lop that off today. So we can use my saw, or we could get my big loppers. Maybe, yeah, we'll get the saw for a clean cut. Here we go. There we have whatever that can become. We'll discuss that later. So here's what we're left with. My thought was to chop it this way and have the tree grow up this way. Got a nice thinning out of the tree right there to have a nice kind of curved tree. So that branch is healthy. This branch we can cut back, but we're gonna get it out of this pot. We're gonna see what the root system looks like, find a new pot for it, maybe a little bit shallower, something more bonsai-like. So the other thought is I don't know if this will just shoot out buds on a hibiscus tree like a maple would. I have no idea. So my first cut will be higher so that we can have some dieback, and if something grows, well, something grows. But in the meantime, we're going to plant this at an angle and have the curve. So I'm going to cut it at an angle and hope for some kind of branching. Careful not to hit that branch on the back. Yeah, maybe we can count the rings on this guy. Ooh, looking healthy. It does look healthy. So now, I guess this would have been the better front, although the root's in the way. I don't like the root there. So this could be the front. There's some damage on this branch, but this could become the tree in the future. So I didn't think that through quite fast enough, but I'm assuming all of this is going to go. This is just to see if this would actually grow some branches somewhere down here now with all the energy in this guy. So I think we're going to cut this guy back. We're going to cut this guy back. And I think we're actually going to cut this back. We can cut this guy back. And we just have this bottom one and these two right here with this little division right there. We'll kind of see what this is going to do in the new pot. So I'm going to get a tub And we're going to get this thing out of the pot. I think it's been in this pot for about 2 years now. I've had the tree for 2, going on 3 years. Got a lot of weeds in here. Try not to intermix that with my recyclable soil. I recycle all my soil. For most of my soil now, for those of you that might not know, I'm using 50% Akadama, 50% pumice. I don't use lava rock anymore. It seems the trend right now with most professionals, and the ones that have talked to us, 2 in the last month at Minnesota Bonsai Society, they just don't use lava rock anymore. So it's just pumice and Akadama. There's a lot of roots in this thing. Holy cow. I think all the roots we're seeing, y'all, is roots from the tree, not these weeds. So we're gonna go ahead and get this out of the pot, and then we're gonna assess. Look at that massive root structure. This was a healthy tree, which makes me wonder why the air layer didn't work. Did I not perform the air layer cleanly? There are so many roots in here that we'll be cutting off. This is quite amazing. So we'll continue to comb this out and see what we got. Digging through this, look at this mat of roots on the bottom. Now we don't want that many big roots, all these big thick ones. We want fine feeder roots. Look, it's below the mat or the drain level. And there's almost pencil thick roots stuck in here. Look at that. Huge root system. This tree was loving life. This combination of soil, look at all that. And that all has to come off. We are just not going to need that kind of roots for what we're doing with this tree. We've had carnage cam before, but this is pretty special. That's some carnage. Root carnage. When we practiced bonsai, we were trying to get ramified foliage, ramified branching and foliage, but we also are trying to get super fine ramified roots. So we want all the super small fine feeder roots. We don't want all the great big clunky roots. Now they look good on top at the surface, some of them. This one looks a little bit precarious. That's all the thick ones growing on this plant. There's a couple more here that we're going to deal with. But we want super small fine feeder roots to feed the tree. And the more refined the root system is, and the more refined your tree is on top, all those roots are supporting all those refined branches and foliage up top. So it is a continual quest of sorting out the roots, getting a really nice 360-degree flare around your tree trunk, and then just, making sure that we're getting smaller and smaller. We're cutting out tap roots, cutting out some of the big roots, and we've got so many roots in here that we're going to be able to do some nice trimming today and get this in a smaller pot than the great big pot it was in. Now this soil is only 2 years old, and I can see the Akadama has not even broken down that much. So we're going to recycle a lot of this soil, and we might recycle a lot of it today just with this tree, partly because the tree was doing so well in this particular soil, and it was very, very healthy tree. Why mess with a good thing, right? But I do have some lava rock in here, and I want to get more just Akadama pumice, so I don't know how much recycling I'll do. Probably the bottom layer will be the recycled soil, and then I'll put some fresh soil up on top. We got some roots sorting out to do for sure. This thing is still big and monstrous. I rinsed out the roots. Not a lot of dirt in here anymore from the original planting. Lots of bonsai soil and nothing else, so that's good. We don't have to spend too much time rinsing it out. Now, we have to work on the roots here. We've got multiple root planes. Look, we have here, down here, and at the bottom. So we're going to cut some roots off today. We're going to go ahead and cut this one off right here. We're going to cut this one off right here. And by doing this, we're going to gain some height to this tree again. As I told you, we're going to plant it at an angle too. This might also give me more choice to plant at an angle. And look, after those 4 major roots, look at how much roots are left on this tree. Truly amazing. So, clean up these wounds as much as possible so they heal over. And don't create unwanted, unsightly bulges. So now we have a few more decisions to make. We still have a lot of roots. We still have multiple root planes, not just one. So can we go down further? I think we definitely can take this next one out here. So, root flare. We want 360 degrees. We want roots to flare out pretty straight. Not going crooked and bending all over the place. So we have to make some decisions here. Like this guy right here. This guy comes out, goes over, zigzags this way and this way. We're just going to go in and cut him deep in there where you can't see. Get this zigzag out of there. Okay. This root right here is flowing up from down somewhere else. And as a matter of fact, as I push it down, it goes down here. And we can let it grow down more to the bottom. We just don't want it growing up. Got a couple roots here growing up. Now this root goes down and curves this way, so we may not want that curve either. We've got a really big root at the bottom here. And that might have to be shortened up too. This root system is growing up, this is growing up. This is coming up from somewhere down below. We can't see, we'll just cut it off now. We have 2 roots here and here. I'm going to cut that one off. I think I'm going to cut this one off too. We just gained an inch or 2 of height on this tree. After lopping the failed air layer off, we just gained 2 more inches. Now this is a beautiful spread down here, so guess what? That one's coming off as well. Now when I first got this tree from my friend Jeannie, I was curious how this root system was going to look down below. I knew it was thick. I just put it in bonsai soil for its recovery and new life in my house. And it's obviously loved it tremendously. This root's going up. We're going to cut that off. Let's see where that bends down. It bends down over here. Just go ahead. Cut that off even deeper. So we have a decent root spread here. Some big ones, some small ones, a couple thick ones here in funky directions. We'll cut that one off because it's going in a weird direction. This is starting to grow up, so we'll cut that thick one off. This one is also growing up. We're going to cut that off. And now the question is, can we put this in the pot like this and have this as kind of our tree in the future? We'll go at an angle a little bit this time and maybe more of an angle next time. So we have a good root spread there, and then we got this big root here and this root right here. So we may decide, remember I said I didn't like this one because of the root coming out? Now that's the side I was thinking about. But if I do this side now, that root's gone, but we have this root here. So see, you dig deeper, you might find some new gems. I think we're going to cut this last big one out for the ones down below it. And there you go. There's one right there. So there and there. So we just got rid of, we had 4 root planes. Now we're down to basically 1 root plane. This root's going up. These roots are going up. These are cutting sideways. Now this one's going up a little bit. So I'm going to cut him off and he'll grow more roots later down. This one's going up as well. So I rinsed it off with the hose one more time. Looks like I can give it another rinse before we put it in the pot. There's just a little bit of nooks, crannies here with a little bit of dirt still left from the original potting of this tree. But we have a much better radial root pattern now. We got a big one right here, and there's a couple lower ones here and a couple lower ones here. This root might have to come off in the future. But I like how these two split right here if this was ever to be somewhat exposed, and this one can thicken up. So to do that, we could take a little bit of girth off of this guy right here. Couple of roots curled around here in the bottom. We want the bottom to be as flat as possible. So again, remember, we're going to plant this at an angle. So this root could be a positive down the road in the background, but we'll go at an angle like this. We'll just start that way and have this be our new tree. It's time for pot selection, and I have a few to choose from, so I'm just going to plot them in there and have you work along with me on this one. So keep in mind I have a 2-inch trunk, maybe 1.5 to 2-inch trunk. And so when you have a 2-inch trunk, you need 2 inches of depth typically. This is less than 2 inches. It's round, it's yellow, it's bright. The flowers on here are kind of a melon color, cantaloupe melon. This probably wouldn't work simply because the color is a little bit too vibrant. Not quite sold on that one. I like the color of this pot. And right now the tree fits in here really nice, but I think it's a little too shallow again. This is only about 1 inch deep, and again we got a 2. This is called a, when you underpot a tree, when you underpot this tree, and plus I want to put it at an angle, right? This is going to be above the plane. We need something deeper than that, so that's not going to work. So I consider this one. And this is a really lighter blue, got some dark blue highlights in there, but again I have a melon, like a cantaloupe melon flower on this thing when it buds, but it's not going to be in bud a lot. And again, deeper pot, is this going to be right at the cusp here of too close, but the roots will start to grow down. We could have this kind of grown in that oval pot. And then my last choice is this guy right here, which is a bigger blue and it's a rectangle. It's got a crackly pot on there. And I think this deeper, darker blue with this little bit darker feet and the flower is going to pop really nice. Now the other reason I like this pot better than the other ones, darker blue for the flower color. That's nice. But it's deeper. This is a full 2 inches plus for this big thick of a trunk. Now it might be a little bit cramped around here. It'd be nice if it was a little bit wider, but we got plenty of room to grow in there, and I think we're going to be just fine. The pot is all full of soil. I got the tree rinsed out. And we're going to put the tree in the pot, sort out a little bit of these roots, cut a couple long ones that are kind of scraggly, and find that magic spot to push this down into the pot. Now I'm not going to wire this one in today. I'm going to go ahead and just use rocks. So here we have the hibiscus slanted to the left, and of course we could always manipulate that to be the front next time. I think we'll twist it just a little bit. Okay, now those are really big rocks, but they're heavy and nothing's going to move this thing around. Really nice and solid in there. And this one almost leans right on there like it was meant to be. This could go away someday and we could leave this as a composition. Now the way it is looking right now, this is right in our face. I'm not worried about that right now because I just want to make sure the tree stays alive. This would be a little bit better front, and that still works. And then the tree is in the back. So whenever you make those decisions up front, if I go ahead and just cut this off, it's like, oh, well, maybe it could be the back after all. And so I've got a healthy new branch right here. I've got a bud back here. And I've got these two major splits with a whole bunch of buds in here. And I've got this as the main possible branch here. And then there's a new bud even right here. So could I cut this one down to here? I could. Now remember, we cut off most of the roots, but we cut off an entire tree up here. This one right over here. So all the roots we have left are going to suffice to take care of this. This will maybe die back and we'll trim it back here and have some developing curve eventually when wounds heal. But right now we'll leave it for that dieback, and I don't know if I'll get a branch that'll grow anywhere in this area down by the tree. I don't know the hibiscus as well as other plants. Like a maple would probably shoot out maybe some possible buds. So we cleaned up the scars. I will put a little cut paste on here right now, actually some putty, and then we're done. That's going to wrap it up, everyone. I got the rocks for stability. We cut off that monster top. We gave it a new angle. The putty is on there. The roots have been cleaned off, fresh soil on top, recycled on the bottom. And whether we look at it this way in the future or this way in the future, we have the potential of a real fun tree. Potential. Remember, we're looking at our bonsai trees for the future and what could this hold. And up straight and how it was before, it just didn't look as good. We've got nice aging bark here and a nice primary branch here that could become the leader, or will become the leader if we cut all this off. We'll have this kind of fun little undulating tree. So once it kind of straightens out here, we'll pick some branches and have a new canopy down the road. And it has all the rest of this summer to heal. So this is a tropical plant. A plant I'll keep in my plant room downstairs, but now it's in a small manageable pot, and it's just going to love life here through the rest of July, August, and September. We'll put this back in its spot, and we are done with another tree. Carnage Cam Part 2. Look at the roots, and look at this top of this tree. The internal temperature of the camera was a little too hot out there in the sun, so I had to put it in the shade, so a nice little cut there to the side angle. I've got some branches that I'll flirt with some cuttings, and maybe I'll just put this in a bucket of water and just experiment. Just cut it off clean, put it in a bucket of water. Who knows? But that tree, the other one, it's gonna be fun to watch it grow. Hey, that's gonna do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you on the next one.